Hi, it's Lyndon, and in this video I want to look at chromatic scales. And the reason is because chromatic scales are super powerful if you want to do some improvising. It's a really good tool in your toolbox that is really easy to understand and use, and it's going to class up your improvising massively, really massively. But in order for us to completely understand the chromatic scale, I think the best way to explain it is to go through to the other room and have a look at the piano, just because the piano is so beautifully visual in a way that the saxophone isn't. Of course, the saxophone is scientifically proven to be the most beautiful instrument ever, but it's hard to see where the notes are, whereas on a piano it's crystal clear. So let's go through to the other room and have a look at my piano. So, the chromatic scale. The word chromatic comes from the Greek or Latin word for colour. So what that word is describing is using all of the colours available to us on our instrument. And what defines the chromatic scale is that it moves around in semitones. Certainly on a piano and a saxophone, this is the smallest movement that you can make. So if I was to play a chromatic scale starting on this note here, which is C, it would be this. Coming down from there, so as you can see, we've used every single note in sequence until I've reached the next C, and because of that there's only one chromatic scale. There aren't 12 like there are in major scales or Dorian minors and Mixolydian scales. There's only one chromatic scale, which is good news because you just have to learn it once. So where you might have heard this type of sound is like in a children's program when they're describing a windy day in Toy Town. That kind of weaving, waving sound. So you could also think of a ship on the sea is moving around. To that sound describes that kind of movement, those very small up and down movements. So that's the chromatic scale, and it's super powerful. Okay, so now we're thinking about how to use the chromatic scale. At the end of this video, I'm going to put a sheet up which outlines the entire scale on our instrument. So you would, to practice it, you would want to go from low B flat, which is the lowest note on your sax, to either high F or F sharp, depending on the type of saxophone that you've got. Not all saxophones have high F sharp, as I'm sure you know, but you want to go from the very lowest note on your instrument to the very highest note. And what I've suggested on my sheet is that you break that down into different sections and start off from going from D to D on your instrument, and then do that in 2 octaves and then extend it from there. So have a look at the sheet. I hope that makes sense for you, and let me know in the comments below. So how to apply this fantastic structure, this fantastic scale? So I've got on my iPad a backing track which is playing D major. My notes are D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp and D. And clearly if I play that over my backing track, it's going to sound quite nice. And if I hit the chord tones, D, F sharp, A, C sharp and E, that will sound really nice. And here's how to use the chromatic scale, or an example of it. You're going to go from one chord tone to another. So in this example, I'm going to go from A, which is the 5th, down to F sharp, which is the 3rd, and that will sound really nice on its own. And I'm thinking of those 2 notes as my target notes. Clearly that sounds very pleasing, nothing wrong with that. Now I'm going to connect those two notes with a chromatic sequence, which is going to descend from the A down to the F sharp. So A, G sharp, G, and F sharp. So these notes, which is a small section of the chromatic scale, and listen to how nice that sounds. The first time I played that was a little bit more quick than the second time, but it's not about tempo, it's not about speed. You can do this quite slowly and it still sounds absolutely fantastic. I could go the other way as well. I could go from F sharp to A, so that would be F sharp, G, G sharp, A, which is a chromatic run. So clearly what I'm doing there is I'm moving up and down between F sharp and A chromatically. And as you can hear, it just sounds really, really, really nice. So then I could build that, I could integrate that. So now I'm going to go D, E, F sharp, G, A, and then a chromatic run from A back down to the F sharp. I think it sounds lovely. It sounds so, so, so nice. So that's the chromatic scale. I could use it somewhere else as well. I could use it from the 9th, which is the E, down to the 7th, which is the C sharp. Which is exactly the same idea. And now I can put those two ideas together, so I'm going from E down to the C sharp chromatically, then I'm going to go from the A down to the F sharp chromatically. Sounds lovely, sounds so nice. And if I run up the scale up to the E, so I'm kind of integrating that idea a little bit more now. Sounds so lovely. And here's the chromatic idea of colour. I'm putting E flats and G sharps into the key of D. So you're bringing more colour into your scale. What you start to realise is that you could actually put any note into the key of D, and if you can justify it, and one way of doing that is by using it chromatically, you can make it sound amazing. So that's the chromatic scale. I hope that's useful for you. If you've got any questions about it, do put them in the comments below. Please contact me, like, subscribe, all that good YouTubey stuff. Let me know if there's any content that you would like to see. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and I'll see you next time. Take care.